Hey there everyone, Videogame Cabinet here, and tonight we're back with a review part 2 of Astro Bot for PlayStation 5. I first reviewed this game back in late December, so just under 3 months ago, but I had a lot more to say about it, so we'll get to that in this second review that I'm going to give you right now. I first beat and reviewed Astro Bot a few months ago, rating it a strong 8.5. But in hindsight, the game deserved to be scored just a little bit higher. Astro Bot is the best 3D mascot platformer that Sony has ever had on any of their consoles, and I just want to keep coming back to play it again and again. Since amassing 318 bots in my initial run this past December, I have gone back and replayed most of the levels, conquered the brand new vicious Void Galaxy, as well as platinumed the entire game. I even platinumed the Astro's Playroom download that serves as a delicious appetizer to the main course that is the full Astro Bot retail release. And now I have 327 total bots, unlocking all the achievement trophies for both Astro Bot and Astro's Playroom marks the first time I have ever technically platinumed any video game in my entire life, so this was a big milestone for me. Fortunately, none of the trophies were too demanding or too time-consuming, so I had a relatively breezy time completing every last task. Astro Bot achieves greatness by consistently surprising the player with its charm, creativity, and variety. Every one of the planets feels different and throws something unexpected at you. And it is all done with fantastic level design, tight platforming, and perfect controls. Each new suit and ability was unique and practical for the stages it was designed for. Every single one of the boss fights was inventive and multi-layered, and I cannot stop listening to that wonderful soundtrack. I love the adorable references to classic games from the PlayStation library, but Astro Bot is far more than a love letter to Sony's past franchises. Only a select few levels pay direct homage to established game series. Most of the game's 86 levels have their own original settings and motifs. Downsized Surprise, Wormy Passage, Free Big Brother, and Slow-Mo Casino were just a few of my favorites. There were too many others to name that were equally ingenious and memorable. Astro Bot is a terrific play for all ages, in no small part due to its buttery smooth learning curve. The checkpoints are frequent, and the campaign delicately eases you to proficiency with every gameplay mechanic introduced. But for genre veterans, there are special levels marked as PlayStation controller buttons that are devilishly hard, giving me the concentrated dose of hardcore challenge that I crave. The Great Master Challenge in the post-game was gloriously brutal as well. The developers have even updated the game in the past month with 5 new levels in the vicious Void Galaxy, which has also been fun to conquer. Who knows? If the game receives more free updates with more levels in the future, I might have to come back and do a third review. But for now, in my second review of the game, I am rating Astro Bot a 9 out of 10. And that is my review. Yeah, like I said, I also ran through Astro's Playroom when I was going through this one again and platinuming Astro Bot and platinuming Astro's Playroom. I kind of think of Astro's Playroom as a pre-DLC to the main course that is Astro Bot. Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, Astro's Playroom was great too. It's more of the same greatness that we were going to get later with the full retail release. And I didn't realize when I first played Astro Bot a few months ago that there were even more games, including a VR one starring the Astro Bot mascot there. So, and I think that VR game, I looked it up, it came out several years ago, I think like 2018 or something. So I didn't know that this little guy's been going on for a little bit longer than I realized, But yeah, either way, yeah, this is my first Astro game and that I've played, and Astro's Playroom. I kind of think of them as linking together as one game, and they are great. And yeah, this was my first time ever in my life platinuming a game. This and Playroom. I usually, I'll beat my games, but I never get all the little achievement trophies, that are listed on your profile. That would just take more years that I have in my lifetime to do, more hours. But it was cool doing it with this one because it wasn't too difficult. But yeah, I really wanted to make this review and come back to it, really because when I gave it an 8.5, a very strong 8.5, I almost went 9, but I decided on 8.5 back in December. I thought about it more, and I'm like, no, man, I really do think it's a 9, it at least. Maybe it's not quite a 9.5, but it is absolutely worth a 9 caliber. It is in the realm of great. 8.5 is really, really good, maybe great, almost great, but no, this is a 9. I have to admit. It just deserves it for being so polished and so original. There's so much stuff that it throws at you that is just so unexpected. There's a couple outfits that you can see that are very, inspired from past Nintendo franchises. Like the metal outfit is very much like Metroid with the morph ball. And there's like this rooster that fires you up into the air. It's like rocket rooster thingy. And that's like the jetpack ability in the Mario Sunshine. Right. But other than that, like there's so much stuff in here. Like especially when I got to the part where you're shrinking down and like a little mouse, and then you get big again. That suit, the downsized surprise level, that was amazing. I'm like, wow, this is really throwing some stuff different at me. And then the slow-mo casino, that was ingenious, the way that the suit just stops time, and that leads to so many cool platforming possibilities and gameplay possibilities. But yeah, just to reiterate, when I do these reviews, I take the scores very seriously. I think long and hard about it to make sure I get it just right. Sometimes we make mistakes. Sometimes I think back at a game and I'm like, oh, I kicked that up, even half a point. I'm like, oh, I got to do it. I got to make sure it's right. And that has happened. I have done reviews on games in the past, like really being sure of that score, and then I'll think about it over the later months, and I'm like, you know what? In hindsight, maybe a little bit higher, maybe a little bit lower. I don't know. So, these reviews, I try to make them as perfect as possible. They're not perfect. I'm trying to be perfect with expressing exactly how I feel about them, and that number really says it all. That nailing that number down, where a 1 is terrible. I don't go lower than a 1. A 1 is Superman 64. A 5 is just meh. 5.5, meh. And then like 6 is okay. But 7, good, solid. 8 is very good. 8.5 is really good. 9 is great. And then when you get into 9.5, that's like near masterpiece, just about masterpiece. And 10 is just total masterpiece. So, I'm trying to, like I said, I take the scores very seriously. But yeah, I just wanted to get this one back and give it the score that thinking about it long and hard over the last few months, it really does deserve a 9 out of 10, at least. Some people go higher, I know. It is a great, great platformer. It's the best 3D platformer that I can think of on any PlayStation console. So, but yeah, so that's it. Those are my thoughts. That is my review part 2 of Astro Bot. I am giving the game the 9 out of 10 that it absolutely deserves. And have a good night.